This is the night stuff. He's going to chase. I guess he's going to take him through here, and there's going to be like there's going to be a certain amount of chase come around here. He's running for his life basically. If we lose him somewhere, and then he'll catch him at another place, maybe around a corner, and he'll take refuge in here, and then his friend emerges from the shadows and grabs him and drops him back into the shadows where they can talk amongst themselves. So what we did is the gaffer and I walked the set today, and we figured out exactly what lights we were going to use, where we were going to put them. He brought his sun path software, and he decided where the sun's going to be a certain time of day. So we were figuring out all those things on before we even go, and then from that we sit down and we figure out how much we need, what kind of equipment we need. You decide all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. And I'll do the same thing with a key grip when he gets hired.
Blasting it out over.
Yeah. There's one that I noticed over here that's kind of like a small, compact car that you would place.
Like an old Willie.
Where you walk.
Yeah, because they're so straight back.
He has these like burnt, mangled cars there, and we're gonna use that for, you know, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
This is like after the suicide bomb has gone up, so we're gonna use that. I think Chet wants to tip it on its side, and then I was thinking just on all the walls surrounding kind of like that area.
Okay.
You know, maybe
Gonna
within like
sit
a
them up
10 foot radius, 15 foot.
Yeah.
We'll sit them up, and then for the floor, since it's concrete, and I'm sure he's not gonna want paint there,
Yeah.
we'll just get a bunch of like, you know, junk and rubble and just kind of paint scenic all that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
We came back and we said we don't need this many lights because the street is smaller than what we thought it was going to be in the pictures. So we took some lights away, we added some more of this, we added some more of that, we took away from that. Then you decide where's the generator going to be, how long of runs do you need with the cabling. So what we were doing is we were coming up with a cable package of how much power we would need to run the whole set. Plus, you have to figure out, you know, is craft services going to need something to run a coffee pot and a light at night. You've got the hair and makeup, they're going to run their blow dryers and everything like that. So you have to put into effect that all the power on set is going to come from us. So
Pallets, crates, even plastic crates, like all those kind of things.
Yeah,
can
milk
be really
crates and
good
stuff like
for
that.
us.
Yeah.
Which we can get cheap. Like I wish we could. Whenever I was working on Crossing Paths, we needed so much junk for like just like certain miscellaneous sets that I called junkyards, and I was like, can we please come like
Oh yeah, just grab
look through some stuff?
Obviously, whenever you're making a film, you need equipment. You don't always have to have every single piece of equipment on the truck or in the studio. I mean, you just don't need it all.
In general, assessing, you know, materials and available help and what you've got to pull together to actually pull off what you're trying to do, it's really a matter of just dissecting what are we about to embark in and how are we going to accomplish it.
So you need to look at your film and do a breakdown. What is the equipment I need? Do I need a crane every single day? Do I need, you know, a dolly or a jib arm? What is the equipment that I need to make this movie with? Is it as simple as a tripod and a camera and lights and a microphone? If it's that simple, wonderful.
read the script, find out how big a film it is, what kind of scope it is, how many locations, how big are the shots, that type of thing, and then also budget. What kind of money do I have to spend? And the budget is a big part of it. If I don't have the budget to have more people, then I don't get more people. You know, what kind of stuff do we get for free? What comes with the project? So on and so forth.
I read the script,
any more art?
and yes, I'm given a budget. And based on the script, you know, I will break that budget down first to equipment. What do we really need? Then once that's been determined, I'll see what I have left over. Then I have to take a look as to manpower. Am I going to need, you know, a best boy electric and 2 electricians and a gaffer? Am I going to need, you know, the same thing for grip? How many people do I really need for camera department? Do I just need a camera, first AC, a second AC, and a loader? Depending on what we're doing, we might need a loader.
Oftentimes in movies, you want a certain look or a feel to a certain camera move. I want this to be really smooth, so we're going to need a dolly, or we're going to need You know, in the case of high school kids, I know that you know, a chair with wheels or a wheelchair works equally well. I actually just saw a picture of Janusz Kaminski shooting the new Indiana Jones film, and he's sitting in a wheelchair with the camera. So it doesn't really matter how sophisticated you become or how much money you have. There are ways of shooting things that look professional, that you can get the look you want without having, you know, the huge, you know, Chapman, you know, crane on your shot, on your truck.
First, you figure out your material costs, because your material costs are going to be the highest overall. Then you figure out your manpower. That's the second highest. Then you figure out insurance overall, which will be the overall highest, because in this day and age, insurance has become the biggest line item ticket for any show.
For big game, we had certain parameters that we were working around. You know, we were going to be shooting in the desert. We had certain looks that we wanted to accomplish. So all that goes into play with the types of equipment that you need to pull together. It's really all about dissecting the script and then figuring out how are we going to accomplish it from a perspective of look. You know, how are we going to get those different looks from a perspective of setups? How are we going to accomplish that from lighting? What kind of lights do we need to have to, if we're shooting some nights, how are we going to create the ambiance moonlight? It's really, you know, and with big game, that's what we had to do. We had to really analyze. And with the budget that you have, how are we going to accomplish it? You know, with the interrogation, how are we going to light that? Let's do it very practical. So we're going to need to bring in some practical lights. You know, from a dolly track, we want to really get around these guys. You know, as a director, really trying to, how are we going to get into the minds of the interrogator and this Josh character? What kind of lenses are we going to shoot? How do we want to, we can do some handheld to create certain feeling, which we did on Big Game. You know, use longer lenses at certain points and shorter lenses at other points.
And we also knew that we weren't going to have a lot of time to shoot this. There's a lot of setups and a lot of locations, and so we knew that let's focus on not using dollies, not using cranes, and just go handheld with everything, because we can move really rapidly with handheld. So whenever you're looking at a script and how much time you have to shoot it, unfortunately, to be able to do this takes experience. You have to know that, you know what, to do an insert car takes half a day to light and drive around and shoot. I mean, there's no insert car that's fast. I think when you're first starting off, you just take everything with you because you don't know what you're going to need. But once you've done a couple of little shorts or a commercial or two, you start to know the equipment I'm going to need to take with me. Filmmaking is an enormous logistical problem, constantly, every day. And it's creative problem solving that gets you through all of this stuff. It's everyone understanding their job well enough to be able to ask the questions that will solve those problems before they arise. And you're going to see a lot of problems. In your first films, expect a lot of problems. Expect just to handle problems on location, on the day, when they arise. And as time goes by, you'll get better at foreseeing what those problems are going to be and making sure that they're taken care of in pre-production. That's what pre-production is all about.